how can we learn from ME when addressing issues of long COVID? We've been working a lot with long COVID through the work that we've done with our My Tailored Talks app. And we've been sort of supporting people with things like pacing, but obviously I'm aware there is some crossover, and it would be brilliant to get your thoughts on where that crossover is and what learnings we can take.
That's great. Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to share what we know. So one of the things is that people need to understand is to not push themselves. Very often when they go to a GP about any health condition, the standard advice is, eat well and go out and exercise in the fresh air. Unfortunately, for people who have post-exertional malaise, and this is shared with many people with long COVID, that's possibly the very worst thing that people can do, because it will exacerbate post-exertional malaise, and that happening worsens every symptom that people have. So that really is something that people need to take on board. And this is the key message that we need to share with health professionals and other people who are giving advice and support to people with ME. The difficulty with post-exertional malaise is that it's different for everybody. People experience it at different times, and they can't always correlate or marry up. Why is it worse now? Why have I been impacted? So that means that people present differently. They have different patterns of illness, and so this can be hard for other people to understand. But that really leads on to the next thing, that because it's an invisible illness, it's not following the normal pattern. People need to be believed that they can be very unwell, they can't do the normal things that they used to do in their life, and that they need support to manage their health and to manage the wider impact on their life of living with a long-term health condition. And this really leads on to being person-centred, that any approach in managing people's health and in people self-managing means that it needs to be led by them, because it's their body. Something else may have worked for someone else, as people often say, oh, I knew somebody who that, and they did X, Y, and Z, and they got better. But that might not work for a person, because you have a condition like this which is very complex and difficult to understand. The post-exertional malaise is the key thing, and it's very hard for people to manage this, because it can be difficult to anticipate the cost of any activity. And it also, for people with ME, and I don't know if this is so much for people with long COVID, but there can be an impact of an environment. If it's very noisy, busy, if there's lights, then that loses up a lot of energy. And conversely, lots of people struggle to make it to a GP surgery or to make it to a hospital because it's a very difficult environment. And one of the ways that we can support people, and we have done in our advocacy service, is to let GPs know through an impact statement, this is what ME is, this is the kind of adjustments this person needs to access your service. And another condition that is shared very closely with people with long COVID is POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia, which has meant for many people that they can't move from one position to another easily. And this is very often coming up at a dentist, where people with ME have to access dentist appointment, but they cannot quickly move up from a lying prone because that raises their blood pressure, they get a lot of palpitations. So we need to let people know this needs to be considered when this person is accessing your service.